At some point, the internet stopped rewarding talent and started rewarding whoever could become the biggest villain.
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy.
And honestly, I think the Chud the Builder phenomenon says something really dangerous about modern internet culture. Because this isn't just about one creator.
Not the MJ poster, please, bro.
This is about what happens when attention becomes more valuable than character. What happens when humiliation becomes entertainment, when outrage becomes profitable, and when young men start confusing being feared with being respected. We're watching the internet create an entire generation addicted to attention, and I think the consequences are starting to become very real. One thing I think people get wrong about internet personalities like Chud the Builder is they act like this stuff just randomly appears. Like one day somebody just wakes up and decides to become an online villain. But that's not really how this works. The internet rewards behavior, the algorithm trains behavior, and over time, people adapt to whatever gets them the most attention. Just think about what social media rewards now. Not wisdom, maturity, not self-control or thoughtfulness. No, it rewards intensity, shock, conflict, humiliation, outrage, chaos. The louder you are, the more attention you get. The more disrespectful you are, the more your clips get shared. The more controversial you become, the more engagement the algorithm gives you. And eventually, people figure out something very dangerous. That you don't actually need to be admired anymore. You just need to keep people emotionally engaged. Angry, offended, obsessed, triggered, hating you, doesn't matter. Because the algorithm treats all engagement almost exactly the same. And I think this hits young men especially hard. Because a lot of young men today feel disconnected, almost invisible. A lot of them don't feel respected. A lot of them don't feel important. And social media offers them a shortcut to significance. Not through discipline, not through becoming skilled, not through becoming dependable, building a family, or becoming leaders. No, through attention. Go viral, get clips, start drama, and embarrass somebody. Even crash out online. Become as controversial as you possibly can. Even hated. And eventually, attention itself becomes addictive. Not respect, attention. In my opinion, that's dangerous. Because when somebody builds their entire identity around internet attention, they have to keep escalating to maintain it. Now, there used to be a difference between trolling and real life, but I think that line has started disappearing, almost to the point where there's no separation anymore. Because what starts as a character eventually becomes identity. What starts as rage bait eventually becomes your personality. And if thousands of people reward you every single time you escalate, eventually escalation starts feeling normal. I think some people get so deep into internet culture, they stop seeing human beings as actual people. Everybody becomes content. NPCs, reaction material, clip generators. Everything becomes performance. Everything becomes content. But eventually reality shows up. And reality doesn't care about your live stream audience. Reality doesn't care about your clips or about your engagement numbers. At some point, you still have to live in the real world. And honestly, I think a huge part of this conversation comes back to young men not having real guidance anymore. Because social media keeps feeding young men two extremes. You're either weak or you're passive. You're loud or disrespectful. Emotionally disconnected chaos. But real masculinity isn't either one of those things. Real strength is self-control, discipline. It's being dependable, protecting people, taking care of your family, and building something meaningful. It's being able to control your emotions when you're angry, being able to walk away from stupid situations, and being able to think before you react. Anybody can scream at a camera or online. Anybody can disrespect people or crash out for attention. That's not strength. That's impulsiveness, and it's killing the young men of this generation. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The audience plays a role in this too, because internet culture has become addicted to watching people self-destruct. We reward breakdowns and humiliation, public crash outs, outrage, and then we act surprised when people keep escalating to the point where they lose control. The internet figured out something incredibly dark, that outrage makes money. And once money enters the equation, everything changes. Because now there's financial incentive to becoming more and more extreme, even more disrespectful and more chaotic. That's not sustainable for individuals or for a culture. Now, I don't think the answer is censorship. And I don't think the answer is pretending this stuff doesn't exist. I think the answer is rebuilding culture, especially for young men. Because right now, a lot of young men are searching for identity online, and the internet is giving them performance instead of purpose. We need more men teaching discipline, emotional control, accountability, leadership, and purpose. Not just teaching people how to go viral. Because if the only way young men feel seen is by becoming the loudest villain in the room, we're headed somewhere very dark and very dangerous. And I think we can do better than that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think internet culture creates this behavior or just exposes what was already there? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. That's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.